This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Alright, this is SwagDean. I'm back with Dice Commando, messing around with Smash Duos, sharing some more deck lists from our initial build, and going through how I built them, what their strategies are, and if people really wanted to play along at home, now you know what I got in here. Last time I did Forlom and Zuckuss. I'm just assuming that Andrew puts them in order. But this one, we're going into one of the big littles. So for this one, we have big old QuiGon, and the text is a little hard to read. I'll read it for you. But this is the QuiGon that really wanted those shields, and if you had shields, it increased his values. So while this character has 2 or more shields, you can increase the value of the character dice by 1. While this character has 3 or more shields, you may increase the value upgrade dice by 1. And in this case, because it's considered one character, this would be viable to resolve on Anakin's die as well, which is fun. I also gave Anakin's ability. After you activate this character, you may turn one of your Droid or Pod Racer dice to any side. And guess what? We have droids, and we have Pod Racers. This was my favorite deck as I was building it, because how else was I going to get pod racing in Smash? This wasn't going to be possible. There wasn't. I mean, I honestly, I tried Sebulba a decent amount. I was like, I'll give him a plot. I'll do all this different stuff, and he just wasn't quite good enough. Maybe someday I'll come back to that. Maybe I'll have a villain pod racing deck, like an Unkar plot, Sebulba nonsense deck. Oh, don't get me started. Okay, so let's get into this deck. Another great joy of this is that Maz Espa Arena. So there's a lot of battlefields that get like a decent amount of play. Oh, why is it upside down? In Smash, because it's like very useful, and there's only so many battlefields. So like being able to bring a new battlefield to Smash is just personally kind of delighting. So for this one, when you claim, you force an opponent to choose to either lose 1 resource or have you gain 1 resource. But if you can spot a pod racer, you can force them to do both. We got 2 pod racers. So, getting into the dice cards, like I said, we got a pod racer, and if you look at it, he's got 5 dice cards, which is usually about the maximum that we get. But now one of those is the pod racer die, which can blow itself up if you roll a blank. And Anakin's pod racer doesn't really deal damage. It does get you shields, though, which QuiGon likes. And then we have R2, who's also like not really heavy. So that's why I was able to give 5. You have the 2 pod racers and the droid are not amazing, but with Anakin's ability, they can become pretty good. And speaking of Anakin's ability and his pod racer, and a lot of times what Anakin was used for back in the day was mill. This deck has mill potential. So you have QuiGon and a shielding. So if you go heavy on shielding and you discard cards, you know, Anakin's got discard, they use the pod racer tricks, things like that, it is possible to get some mill action going with this deck. It's not fully synergized and designed for that, but this is another deck where it's like if you married this one and Leia, or another deck that can run a mill strategy, QuiGon shielding up real heavy and things like that, it becomes viable. I think it's more mill and kill. You're going to have a little bit of milling tricks, but you definitely want to hammer people with QuiGon Saber, the Heirloom Saber, and make things happen there. So with this deck, Heirloom is the big redeploy, so if you do play QuiGon Saber, you can save it. Or at least, I wanted to get 1 good damage. It's not often you get both of these out. And I wanted to give, because I have a lot of supports going on, I wanted to have ways to ramp to it. So that's why we have Fearless out there. So like Fearless is always, I mean, it's good with Qui-Gon. Lets you pull through your deck and gives you a shield, and you want shields. And this card actually has performed pretty well in Smash. Like Ahsoka and has it. There's a couple decks where like when you get this out, sometimes you do really start to like it because you do like pulling for your cards. Um, and that shield matters, especially with Qui-Gon. So get out there and get some shields, and then you can more easily overwrite to get one of these big 3 costs out on them. Since I went with supports, otherwise, because I usually try to give like 1 cost, 2 cost, 3 cost, kind of so they could scale up if you are being tight with your resources on your upgrade suite. But this one we couldn't quite do that. Since we got a lot of shield sides, your eyes can deceive you for a nice like soft mitigation, consistent play, and just seemed thematic. When Qui-Gon was out trying to rescue everybody from Naboo, he wore the Aquata Breather, another way to protect himself with that upgrade. Heavy shield package for your events. Discipline Mind, just being spot Jedi remove. Pacify, you can use it on yourself. You can you can take one of your Anakin dice, basically make it a 2 shield, and then resolve one of your Qui-Gon dice with the bonus. Heightened awareness, a little bit expensive, but boom, ambush way to get 3 shields to get the big bonus. Defensive stance, it's always nice when the art matches. Your hero, so just giving character 2 shields, that turns on his ability. If you do have all those shields, you resolve your dice, and then once you're done, I have an idea. I'm going to riposte and kill you. That was always a fun play back in the day. Now it lives on again in Smash. And then Luke's Protection, it's a looping card. Keep your shields going. Sometimes it can mess with you, because you're only drawing. It decreases how much you're drawing through your deck playing Luke's Protection. But sometimes if you pair Luke's Protection and Fearless, which is nice, or you could even loop it twice. You could do it, give it a shield, put it on top of your deck, activate Fearless, get a shield, draw a card, which is going to be Luke's Protection, do it again. Like there's some fun tricks you can pull with Luke's Protection in here. And then save the best for last, Pod Racer Betting. A lot of people probably never even played this card, but here it is. You choose a number, you reroll one of your vehicle dice, and if that die just rolled the value equal to the number you chose, gain 2 resources or 3 resources instead if it was a pod racer die. And you've got Watto and Qui-Gon talking there. It's thematic. I love it. You got pod racers. It's a gamble, but I mean, we're rolling dice. That's half the fun of Destiny. Take a gamble. And I mean, some of these, you got some 2s on both of them, and you got some blanks. But if you say 1, you got a decent chance. You got a decent chance of getting yourself 3 resources with pod racer betting. You can only play it one time, unless your partner in Smash has like cheat or something. But that's a fun spice play where everybody holds their breath while you roll the dice and see if you get that 2 or that blank, and totally whiff on pod racer betting, and that's delightful. That's something I'm really looking forward to. So that is Qui-Gon Anakin. Gave him 11 health. We'll see. It might be too much with how much shields he's got, but at the same time, like I said, Anakin's die doesn't deal damage. Like, his ceiling might be a little bit lower so like I'm starting with 11, but he definitely has shield tricks. He can be a brick wall potentially. So that's where I'm thinking at with him right now. It's just like, is his shield wall going to be impenetrable, or him only having 1 of his dice? Does that rein him in a good bit and this is fair? Or, are we missing more damage stuff? Do I need to get a little more aggressive with the dice we give? These are all the things I'm thinking about. But for now, I like this deck. It's got a good, unique place in the world of Smash, and I love it. So you feel free to give it a try. If not, you can just wait until eventually, if we ever get around to releasing this thing, if I can get enough testing in, you can always check it out then. But yeah, these are the cards. And thanks for hanging out with me. And as always, go Commando.